find the connection to wherever it is that you come from. Oftentimes when we're lost, we don't know who we are. How do we contribute to building a better society for all those people thinking about being an entrepreneur, opening your own business? Do it. You have an idea, you have something you're good at, do it. Negativity will come. There's gonna be days you have imposter syndrome. You're gonna feel like maybe you can't do all these things. If you're determined and you actually want something, you can do it, right? You're only as good as you think you are.
So first, we'd like to begin by giving thanks to the Creator, for all things are not possible without. We'd also like to acknowledge our ancestors who toiled without compensation or compassion. And we'd also like to acknowledge our elders, whose shoulders we stand on to build, share, and learn in our collective liberation and sovereignty. So thank you so much for joining us today. Can you introduce yourself to our audience and viewers?
Sure. My name is Efia Tekyi-Annan, and I am the owner and the creative behind African Royalty.
Okay, so one of our first questions we'd like to ask you is, why did you start African Royalty?
Well, African Royalty actually started 10 years ago this month on a trip back to Ghana with my family. I was in the markets and looking at things, and my friends had asked me to bring some stuff back for them. And I thought, like, I could bring it back for you guys for free, or I can make this a business. And it kind of took off. And of course I gave this stuff to my friends for free, but then I started noticing that other people were taking note of it. And I decided that it was a viable business. So sharing my culture, my parents' culture has meant so much to me. And so I'm glad that I'm able to do that with this business. And that's one of the focal points, like just getting the exposure for African culture and traditions.
So our next question we'd like to ask you is, what are some barriers or some roadblocks in terms of your growth?
Ooh, for one of the barriers I had is doing it myself. You know, they say if you want to go somewhere fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And so it's just been a journey because getting my team together, I'm doing it. It's always been on the side of my desk. So it's something I focused on intensely, maybe for a couple of weeks at a time. And then would put it away because I got busy. So getting a team together, focusing my whole mind, my whole spirit on what it is that I'm doing, has been one of the barriers. As well as COVID was huge. A lot of the things that I sell in Canada, in the Western world, is from Ghana. So I actually bring them from Ghana. And not being able to travel was a huge roadblock. And figuring out the shipping aspect of it, which I'm still figuring out myself now. But those are some of the things some of the issues that I had to kind of overcome. And the way I fixed that was I started hand creating and sewing face masks and headbands during that time. Obviously we were wearing them, so it was beneficial at that time. And then it also forced me to think outside the box. What else can I be doing? Where else can I obtain African things without actually having to go all the way to Africa? And that helped me to create the clothing brand, which is a tracksuits part of African Royalty.
Okay.
So what do you wish you'd known back then that you know now?
I wish I knew more of the business side of it. I didn't really understand how important it was to have a deeper business understanding. I think I was just doing things on a whim. And sometimes to me, it made sense like, oh, well, if this costs this much and this costs this much, obviously there's a profit. But I also have to take the time to figure out my financials and things like that, like having a proper plan and all those things. So it's very important, I would say, as a business owner, to figure out your financials and figure out how to organize that, right? Knowing you're making a profit isn't enough. You need to know exactly how much things cost, and what the difference is. And,
Overhead
all of those things.
So do you have any key set of priorities in your work right now?
Yeah, so we actually just launched a workshop. So it initially began at the beginning of this year as a waist bead workshop, and it's evolved into a Roots of Empowerment identity program that helps Black youth kind of reaffirm their identity and bring them back to African culture. And so right now we're focusing on building that program. We've gotten a contract with the school and the TDSB, and they've tasked us with creating the 10-week program that includes things like talking about elders, waist beads, head wraps, intentionality, gratitude, things like that. And so it's really important that we develop that and we bring people together in collaboration in order to facilitate this programming to the kids, to connect them and ground them.
So with your brand, African Royalty, what is your ultimate goal? And then aside from that, what does success look like to you and your colleagues?
Okay, so my ultimate goal is to have African Royalty as a house name brand, and that people make African Royalty synonymous with all things Africa. So as now people come to me, oh, they want to travel to Africa, cool. They want to buy and invest in Africa, they come to me. They want things to wear to graduations and other ceremonies, they come to me. So I want it to be not just my friends, I want it to be known that this is what African royalty does, as well as being a staple in educating people about the culture and the traditions. And so we're starting small, but it's coming, it's happening. So that's been a part, like something I just thought about kind of this year and the last year, but it's evolving fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of trying to get my bearings because things are happening very quickly.
Yeah.
Although it's been 10 years, right? Success looks like me being able to have my team, and I have different departments. So I have a marketing team, I have a creative directing team, I have an inventory team, I have a sales team, things like that. And we're all sitting around and we're figuring out new ways to bring Africa to the West and reaffirming African culture, right? I want to tackle schools. I want to tackle community. I want to tackle those in the diaspora and helping them understand themselves more and things like that. So African royalty is not meant to just be Ontario GTA thing. It's meant to be an international brand and a global thing. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any key priorities or call to actions?
Call to action would be find the connection to wherever it is that you come from. For Black youth, find that connection to Africa. Do research, know more about yourself, because I find that when you're grounded, you begin to know who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And then you can be a positive role model or a positive person within our societies, right? Oftentimes when we're lost, we don't know who we are. How do we contribute to building a better society for the youth, right? For those coming. So that's know yourself.
Yeah.
And if you need help, contact us. We got you. Knowing yourself, being grounded, roots of empowerment.
The tallest trees have the longest roots. So
Exactly.
it's very, very
Exactly. That's a great.
So before we close down, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah. To all those people thinking about being an entrepreneur, opening your own business, do it. You have an idea, you have something you're good at, do it. Don't ever think your idea is too small. Don't ever think that you can't do it. Do it, and then find people who are around you who want to support those visions and shut out the negativity. Yeah. Negativity will come. There's gonna be days you have imposter syndrome. You're gonna feel like maybe you can't do all these things. If you're determined and you actually want something, you can do it, right? You're only as good as you think you are.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, thank you so much. We'd like to close as we begin by giving thanks to the Creator, for all things are not possible without. We'd also like to acknowledge our ancestors who toiled without compensation or compassion. We'd also like to acknowledge our elders whose shoulders we stand on to build, share, and learn in our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys. You guys did great. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you and your leadership.
All right. Check out my socials down below so you guys can follow the page, get on our website and order some stuff. And if you ever want to contact me about getting a workshop done at your school or your community, holla at me. Got you.